functions. We are going to look at the very beginning or the very basics of what is a function. A function is a special relationship where each input has a single output. So when we talk about functions, we talk about numbers going into and numbers coming out of a function. The connector piece or the process is that function. So we don't just talk about input and output. We also call these, or we use the terms domain, and the output is more specifically called the range. So the domain and the range. And the way I remember this is input has to go first before you can get something out. In has to go first. So D comes first in the alphabet before R, so domain always has to be first, and it's the input before you can have a range. So for example, very simple process would be to add 3, let's say, to every number. And let's say we have a domain of 7, so if we start with the domain or the input of 7 and we add 3, our output or our range would be 10. Now functions can be very easily related to vending machines. I've got a picture of a vending machine here. And let's say this vending machine has no money that needs to make it work. It's got all the money it needs. You don't have to put any money in. Instead, what we're going to do is focus on the input being these buttons over here in this area, the keypad right here, and the output are all of the food options that will come out of the vending machine. If I label this first button here, let's pretend that, again, it's got all the money it needs. We're going to have this top button be button number 1 that we're going to push, label it 1. And this button down here is going to be button number 2. So we're going to have, I drew that circle awfully big, button number 1 up here. I'm going to redraw it, option number 1. And that's going to be our first choice. So we're going to go over here, press this corner button, and it's going to link us right to these snacks. We're going to call them cookies right here. So in a vending machine, if you press that first button, it's linked to one slot or one snack. In our example here, it's these cookies. If I make a map, as you'll see in map, this is going to be my domain options over here. So I've got domain option 1 and domain option 2. And over here are going to be my range options, and so far I've got cookies as my option. And just like where I'm drawing this line, this first button is connected to cookies. If I press number 1, I get out cookies, very simply. If I press number 2, let's say it's connected to this sandwich right here. So I press number 2 and I get out a sandwich. Just like in a vending machine, each keypad, each button is connected to one slot on the vending machine. It would be impossible for me to pick out or press number 1 and get this snack to come out also. It's only linked to one slot or one snack. On our map, in math, it would be like me pressing number 1 and getting out both these cookies and, let's say, the sandwich at the same time. It wouldn't happen. And if it does happen, that's your first indication that you don't have a true function. That does not happen in a real function. So let's get rid of those options. And let's put on one more key right here. Let's look at this key over here. Let's press number 3. And for this, let's say we're going to get out this snack right here. What you'll see is exactly like the first option here, those same cookies. So on my math map over here, I have option number 3, but I'm getting out those same cookies, and it looks like this on my map. It is possible for you to press a different button but get out the same range or the same output. You've seen vending machines that are just filled with Coke every single button that you press, you will get Coke to come out or Pepsi to come out. That can happen. This is a function. But again, you can't have press button number 3 and get out this snack option and this sandwich, let's say down here. On our map, it would look like this. The red line goes to cookies and then also to sandwiches. That would not happen. And again, an indication that you do not have a function. So there you go, your first beginning steps of understanding functions.